This is Allied Services Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
Welcome inside Veterans Memorial Stadium. We're in the pizza capital of the world in Lackawanna County. Tonight, it's a Lackawanna Football Conference Division IV showdown between Lackawanna Trail and Old Forge. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Ide, and welcome to week number 7 of high school football. Joining me in the booth tonight, former Tunkhannock area coach Jan Cechak. Paul Grippy's on the sidelines and will join us shortly. And coach, when it comes to small school football in the state, it doesn't get any better than these two teams here tonight.
Bob, we have two of the premier single-A teams playing tonight for the playoff championship for the Lackawanna Football Conference. These two teams really don't like each other. There's a long history of a rivalry here, and you're going to see great football tonight.
Let's talk about the Lions first. They lost their first game of the year to Northwest. They rebounded a bit. Boy, they like to run the ball, and they have a great running back in Ray Melnikoff, our Toyota Spotlight Player of the game.
The junior running back is the workhorse of the Trail offense. They run that wing tee. He's the leading rusher. He has over 450 yards this year, and he's got 6 touchdowns. And when they wanted to get the tough yards, he's the tough kid to get it done.
Blue Devils lost a tough one here last week to Dunmore, but they have an offense that averages just about 40 points per game, and they have a receiver who has really stepped up his game, and Tyler Carey, our other Toyota Spotlight player.
Tyler Carey, not only offensively is he a threat, but defensively he's done a great job as a shutdown corner, and he has 3 interceptions on the year.
The question tonight will be who will throw Carey the ball. We found out yesterday that Dante Lucarelli, the starting quarterback, will be out tonight with a sickness. He's made 29 starts. He's thrown for over 3,500 yards. So replacing him will be Michael DiGregorio, making his first start ever.
Well, Michael, when he was the quarterback for the freshman team, they went 10-0. He has experience in leading an offense. He just hasn't had the varsity time yet because he's behind a very good quarterback.
Well, it's jacket weather and fall is upon us. Let's check in now with Allie DeBicki from the Fox 56 News First at 10.
Hey there, Bob. Another great evening for football. We are going to see the clouds decreasing, but that's going to make temperatures a lot cooler. So may want to have an extra layer or two if you're headed out to the game tonight. Lackawanna Trail versus Old Forge. Kickoff temperature is going to be sitting near 51 degrees. And by the time we get towards the end of the game, temperatures will be backing off into the mid-40s. We actually could see late tonight temperatures hitting the mid-30s, the coolest we've seen this season. We'll have another update on what to expect coming up, but for now, we'll send it back to you at the field.
Thank you, Allie. The showdown is set. It's Lackawanna Trail and Old Forge next.
You're watching Allied Services Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
And here come the Lions in their white uniforms tonight, and followed by in the blue home uniform, the Old Forge Blue Devils. Welcome back, everyone, to Veterans Memorial Stadium, getting set for this small school showdown. And third member of our crew, as always, is Paul Grippy. And Paul, once again, this District 2 Class A will come down to 3 teams, and it's quite a race so far.
And these two teams know that here tonight. The result of tonight's game could decide who is in the postseason and who's not. Only 3 teams in Class A because Holy Cross canceled their season. But here we are in week 7, and a look at the standings in that single A. 3 teams, 2 from the Lackawanna League, Northwest from the Wyoming Valley Conference. But Old Forge sits in first place with a narrow lead over Northwest. And then Lackawanna Trail a little bit farther behind in third. Trail has lost to Northwest already. But if Trail wins tonight, that could put them ahead of Old Forge in the standings. Remember, only the top 2 will make the postseason. Now, Old Forge has already had their bye when Holy Cross dropped off the schedule. Lackawanna Trail will miss a game later in the season. So Old Forge has more games left to play than Lackawanna Trail, so that extra game Old Forge has left could further raise them in the standings. Only the top 2 make the playoffs. Last year it was Trail and Old Forge in the postseason. They split their 2 games last season. So tonight is important, especially more important for Lackawanna Trail. They could meet again in the postseason, Bob. A lot at stake.
Absolutely a lot at stake, considering, as Paul mentioned, 2 only get into the championship game. That's the first week of the playoffs. Our Keystone College kickoff Evan Kerrigan, the junior. Resto and Rosansky back to receive, and we're underway in Old Forge. Goes back to Rosansky from his 20. He'll get hit hard up near the 30-yard line, and that's where we'll see the starting quarterback tonight. Roca's gone. Nico Barrios has stepped in. He's 19 of 32 on the year, 392 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. More importantly, Jan, he's run for 262 yards.
With this wing T offense, Bob, this is what they want, what Coach Jervis wants them to do, but he also likes the threat of that passing game that Nico can bring to this trail offense.
Take a look at the rest of the offense for the Lions coming up shortly. Nice stiff breeze going left to right here tonight, so we'll see how that impacts. But these, as we talked about, this will be a lot of running, and a lot of running from this guy, Ray Melnikoff, the junior, who has 523 yards. He comes up for about 6 to start. Now the Quad A Driving Academy starting lineup. There's Creswell, Resto, and Melnikoff in the backfield. Couple receivers. Wallace out there. He's caught 4 passes on the year at tight end. And then up front, well, they have 3 juniors, 3 seniors, a junior and a sophomore starting on the offensive line. Resto tries to get it back the other way. Old Forge is right there, a 3rd down coming up.
That last play, they ran a counter tray where they pulled the backside guard and tackle, and Old Forge is 4-4. Here you go, there you go, 77 pulling and number 65 pulling, but the Old Forge defense, boy, that 4-4 is really tough to run against.
The defense gives up only 8.2 points per game so far this season for the Blue Devils, while the offense for the Lions up around 34.8 points per game. But as always, this game will come down probably to the last quarter. All types of movement up front. So we'll check on the referee tonight. Tom Finan from the Lackawanna Football Conference doing the honors, and his crew.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So when you're a running team and you get 3rd and long, what happens?
You're going to give the ball to Ray Melnikoff. That's what I would do. Again, that was just unfortunate that number 3 on that time, Kyler Wallace, just jumped with this shifting. They were trying to go an unbalanced set. We'll see what Coach Jervis dials up now.
In the shotgun, Barrios, a little shovel pass inside. He's ripped down. We have a flag coming in as Pepsin made the hit. Came in right after the tackle, so let's see what this is. And I think they're going to say targeting. He pointed, Joe Shaughnessy, our umpire, pointed to his head. That will, Coach Schuback arguing.
Personal foul, helmet contact, blue.
Let's look at this
Let's
one
look
again.
at this again. They're running that shuffle pass. I would have to disagree with the officials on that one. That was just good tackling technique where the running back now, when he lowers, that always is a precarious situation to make that call.
Right, he can't stop his momentum. He was going for the tackle, and the guy was falling down, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was slipping and incidental on that one. There was no targeting on
Coach
that.
Schuback, arguing that one, as you might expect, but the Lions gets a 1st down up to the 47-yard line. So the drive stays alive. Melnikoff ducks through, maybe a yard at best. How do you see the matchup of lines tonight?
I'll tell you what, the interior 2 on the Blue Devils, you have that big guy in there, number 57, Jaden Rose, that's 315 pounds. And then you got Nick Rasmus, number 55, 245. And they definitely are outsized, they are outsizing the Trail Lions. The right guard's only 185-pound junior. Mark Dunkel, who's a returning veteran from that state championship team year, he knows what to do in there.
Fake play action, gonna go down. A lot of hand movement, no flag. Johnny Halter trying to pull it in, could not, it goes incomplete. Now the Quad A Driving Academy defense for the Blue Devils. Coach mentioned they play that 4-4 in there. Rose in the middle has 8 tackles, but Nikoloff on the outside has 19. Well, they're very good at linebacker. 55 tackles for Colin Holtzman, and then in the backfield behind them, DiGregorio has 12 tackles, tackle for a loss, and an interception at free safety. Barrios rolling again and can't hit the intended receiver. Brown in the flat. So this 4th down, we'll see a punt.
We will. And what I was going to say, Bob, earlier was that DiGregorio is playing at that corner spot. Now he's going back as the return man. And this young man is such a talented athlete. He can do it all. Now he's got his chance to show what he can do on the offensive side.
Yeah, we'll see him at quarterback shortly. So the risk is injury, I guess. But when you have to play him where he's best at.
Well, and Coach Schubeck, along with every other football coach, has that next man mentality. The question would be, if something was to happen, who does come in next?
Melnikoff, the kick off the side of his foot. So this will not go very long. In fact, it will give the Blue Devils excellent field position up to the 41-yard line. So it looks like a 12-yard punt. So here is DiGregorio. Well, there's stats not very good, but he has played this year. I mean, passing-wise, he can run the ball very well, and he has played in the backfield in the shotgun a lot.
He's had his chance, but never at the quarterback position. And Bob, we talked about pregame. This young man, he led this team when he was a freshman to a 10-0. So he knows the offense. He knows what the expectations are. He just has to settle in and play.
What do you lose in Lucarelli? I guess the deep threat, the passing ability.
The big time, and that's what I talked to Coach Jervis and his defensive staff about, and they said that.
So he hands it off to Pepsin. Trying to get the corner, he does, and he picks up about 6.
On this play, they just go with that outside power, and Pepsin has got great feet. Look at those legs, they just keep pumping and churning, and brought down by number 4.
Brings up a 2nd and 4 for Old Forge.
So Pepsin, 265 yards this year. Played a lot last year and had a nice game.
And he's rushed for 4 touchdowns this year, too.
Back to Pepsin off the right side, just about a yard short. Here now the Quad A Academy. Starting lineup for Old Forge, J.C. Pepsin, Holtzman in the backfield. Holtzman with 64 yards. We highlighted Carey in our pregame. Weaver on the outside has 2 catches. And we'll also see up front, we talked about this a little bit, Burkhardt in the middle with experience. Two seniors, freshmen in there. Number 77, Rose, will get the start. Shot block, penalty. I didn't see that. Give Old Forge a 1st down, Coach.
And it gives them huge field advantage right now. The swing, it goes from their side. Now they're at Trail's 46-yard line.
So a break.
Or excuse me.
Yep, 36.
36.
So this time the advantage goes to the Blue Devils off a penalty. Can they take advantage? Back to Pepsin, makes a cut. Comes up for about 5.
The Blue Devils on that play, they just ran their ISO play where they just have the fullback lead up. Pepsin didn't like what he saw inside, bounced it to the outside to pick up a good 5 yards.
This offense going at a clip of 40 points per game. Of course, they like to run it. 201 per game. The passing game was very good at 151 per game. I don't know if we'll see much of that tonight as well. Back to Pepsin. Ran into his own guy, Weaver. And 3rd down upcoming. Now the Quad A Driving Academy defense for the Lions giving up around 13 points per game. Up front, Rodenbach has 19 tackles and Dunkel on the outside, 32 tackles. 4 linebackers in there as well. Brown with 27 tackles, playing very well along with Melnikoff. And in the secondary, Barrios, 2 interceptions on the season. sneak, and I don't think he's got it, about a half-yard short.
Well, there were a lot of questions about the Blue Devil offense. What were they going to run? Are they going to go wildcat? Are they going to go shotgun? Are they going to go I? Well, they've been staying in the I right now, and he's done a nice job commanding the offense. Great job with his center exchanges. There hasn't been any issues in there. He knows what he's doing in there. Coach Schubeck feels really confident with him, and we talked to Coach earlier in the game, or before the game, and he was like, there's not much we're not going to do other than really passing.
Yeah, we're shortening the playbook if you're the Blue Devils tonight with DiGregorio, but he's underneath center on 4th down. Someone move, no flag. Pepsin easily shoots through, picks it up near the 21.
The offensive line did a nice job with their discipline, with the long count, and they did a great job getting that pad level that we talk about as offensive line coaches. You want to get your shoulder pads underneath theirs, and you want to get that extension. They did a nice job to get that 3 yards for that 1st down.
Well, they go over their seniors, Nikoloff, the left guard, and the center, Burkhardt, and use that experience and size up front.
And strength, the most important thing, especially you talk to Coach Schubeck about that, and he'll tell you, it starts in the weight room with these guys.
So after the Luzerne County Community College 1st down, Old Forge keeping the drive alive. Pepsin trying to get a block in the corner, but a nice job by Creswell to get off that block and make the tackle, but Pepsin picked up about 4.
It was a nice job on the toss play. You see that right there? He just gets a nice stiff arm in there. He's got to get a little bit better stalk blocking from his wide receivers if they're trying to break that open. Right now, Coach Schubeck's not really concerned. He's going to try to, as we talked earlier in the week, he wants to do ball control, and he wants to limit the trail offense on the field.
Old Forge in the Allied Services red zone for the first time in the game. Holtzman, the fullback, up for a couple. 3rd down upcoming.
They come back with that reverse pivot with the quarterback. It is a trap play, a quick hitter. Again, trying to use their tailback as that decoy. Kevin Pepsin, I'll tell you what, if Trail keeps following him, they will open that up, and I'm sure we'll see the quarterback then keep the ball.
Coach Schubeck, 18 years here, 147 wins overall. Of course, played with here at Old Forge in the 1980s. He's had a lot of success here.
He really has, and he understands what this community wants out of their football team.
DiGregorio looking for his first pass attempt. Cross his body, and I think he was trying to hit his tight end Weaver. It goes incomplete, so a 4th down.
Well, they go with a bootleg on this, so they have the pulling guard in front of them. Cyril Rose out there pulling for him. That's the freshman. And again, as a right-handed quarterback rolling to your left, it's a really difficult pass to do, especially for an inexperienced quarterback.
And maybe that time he looked like he had some room out there. If he had taken that corner, he might have been in for a touchdown. But next time he might tuck it in.
But I think it's discipline right now. He wants to make sure that he's not going to get Coach Schubeck a little upset by not looking downfield. And that's something that Coach then can say to him, look, hey, if it's not there, you got it, go.
4th down for the 2nd time in this drive. Pepsin trying to get a block. Cuts in, and he does. First and goal, Old Forge inside the Allied Services red zone at the 9-yard line.
You'll see on this, they set it up. There was a little bit of timing issue there with number 19 coming across, Tyler Carey on that one, but it actually worked out to his advantage in terms of for Pepsin to get that extra blocker in there.
Pretty much what we expected coming in. Not much passing, a lot of running. This is the 11th play of the drive for the Blue Devils. It started at their own 40-yard line. Quarterback sneak, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage. Brown shooting in, he'll lose a couple.
On that Lackawanna Trails defense, Their defensive coordinator spent some time with Coach Donato at Scranton Prep, so he really has his 4-4 going well. The kids are really buzzing the gaps. They're getting in there, doing a nice job with their pursuit angles, and then wrapping up.
That was Josh Brown, the 6-foot senior. He had 2 tackles for a loss coming in, make it 3 now on the season. He also has 2 sacks. DiGregorio going to roll out. No pressure on him at all, but there's no one open, well covered. Goes to the end zone, and he gets it for an Old Forge touchdown. It's a figure law for touchdown, and it's to his tight end, Zach Weaver.
Well, maybe Coach Schuback heard us discussing how they should have the right-handed quarterback roll to his right. Patience right here by the young man at the first-time quarterback. And look at this. He saw that tight end coming across for that touchdown. Excellent job, Blue Devils.
Actually, a very nice pass from DiGregorio. Problem again on the extra point. Can't get it. That was Barbetti. It goes down as a failed 2-point conversion. And 2:13 remaining in the first quarter. Old Forge takes the 6-0 lead. And we are back. Old Forge with a nice drive, Jan. 12 plays, 60 yards. Took a lot of time off the clock. Converted a couple 4th downs. Had a penalty against the Lions in there, but you know what? They took the lead and they did what they needed to do.
And they established what their quarterback, the new quarterback, can do in there. The thing that concerns me would be that extra point, which has been their Achilles heel. That is going to come back at some point and haunt the Blue Devils.
It haunted them last week as they lost 13-12. So it's another Keystone College kickoff for Kerrigan. Line drive goes to Rosansky from inside his 20. Shoots up and pass to the 36.
Announcing 2 new senior living communities providing the highest level of care, comfort, and convenience right in your own backyard. St. Teresa's Residence is now Meade Street Residence, and St. Luke's Villa is now Center City Residence. If you or a loved one requires skilled nursing, consider the quality care you will only find from Allied Services. Go to alliedservices.org.
So Barrios back on. Inside trap, and it goes to Josh Brown, the senior. Typical wing T play, up for about 8.
Again, you're trying to establish that. I know Coach likes to call that the crisscross because you got play action going to the left as the wing back coming to the right.
The last time these two teams met was in the District 2 championship last November, and Trail came back. They won that game 29-12 after suffering their only regular season loss to this team at Lackawanna Trail last year, game you saw right here on my TV. Another flag.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So that will back the Lions up, make it second and a little bit longer than I'm sure they want. But another big key penalty for Lackawanna Trail.
And that's, I know, the discipline that Coach Jervis and every coach in America hates when a kid jumps off sides. They try that crisscross play again, coming back now towards us.
Kevin Pempson again called his name already a couple times on defense, makes the stop. 3rd and long upcoming.
And again, you look at both these teams, they have about 30 to 32 kids on each roster. Your best athletes are going to be going both ways, if not 3 ways, because you don't want to have that letdown on special teams.
No, something we haven't seen when we watched the big school teams the last couple of weeks. This is old school football.
This is.
These 80% of these guys, 85% play both ways and will all night.
And that's the expectation at both these schools with the communities they have.
Barrios back, looking long, going to try to get over the middle. Brown, though, was impeded by the freshman Casey Holtzman. It goes incomplete.
Barrios had time. That was a good coverage sack right there. But again, he's back there. He had time to throw. Good technique. They just got to get those receivers. Again, with the wing T, you're not used to going long with the ball.
Melnikoff, the punter. Let's see if he can do better than he did last time. It was only a 12-yard punt last time. And it gave Old Forge very good field position. So let's see a flag again. Legal substitution against Old Forge. So that will give 5 yards to trail, but it'll bring up 4th and 3 after those 5.
Prior to the snap, 12 men on the field against blue, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Can't play with 12.
Well, it's not Australian
You can play
rules.
with 10.
Yeah, that's not a penalty.
No.
Disadvantage, but
Old Forge looks like they're going after it. They drop a couple, they do. Carey almost got it. Another short kick. And Old Forge will take over, boy, past the 40 again. 17 seconds left in the first, right at the 40 again.
we talk about special teams, Bob, and I know Coach Jervis right now is really frustrated that his punter isn't able to play that field position that they would like. But again, Coach knows that that's not their strong point. Ray's strong point is running the ball and tackling. And he's doing it probably out of necessity right now as the punter.
Pretty easy schedule early on for this Blue Devil team. It really took it to the teams they played, Holy Redeemer, Susquehanna, Hanover, and Carbondale, before losing to Dunmore here last week by 1. Now another tough game, and boy, there comes Mark Dunkel, the senior, with another tackle for a loss.
Mark Dunkel is the dude out there right now. He's playing so stout. Look at the way he tracked that ball carrier, and he just takes him down for that loss, Bob, as you said. Again, Mark was a returning from the state champion runner-up last year.
And will the Lions get back in this one? They're down 6-0 after one quarter here in Old Forge.
6-0 Devils as we start the second quarter here at Old Forge Veterans Memorial Stadium. And we want to thank the Figured Law Firm for sponsoring our Scholar Athlete program all season long. Tonight's two Scholar Athletes. First for Old Forge, it's Jacob Burkhart. He's the center, wears number 56 on the football team. Member of the Science and Math Club, National Honor Society. He volunteers for the Old Forge Borough Cleanup, and he is a part of the backpack program to feed children. For Lackawanna Trail, a young lady named Monica Stenzi, member of the volleyball team. She actually played today. Also basketball and on the track team in the National Honor Society, the Spanish Honor Society, and Virathon. She's in the concert band and a volunteer for the youth groups at her parish. So thank you to those two, and congratulations to Monica and Jacob, and thanks to the Figured Law Firm for sponsoring our Scholar Athlete this season. Bob?
Congratulations to both student athletes. Second quarter getting underway, 6-0 your score. Jan Sechak, Bob Ide in the booth here in the pizza capital of the world, which we did enjoy prior to the game. So DiGregorio, play fake. He's rolling again to the left. He tucks it in and gets out of bounds, picks up about 5 yards.
I think what Coach Schubeck is trying to establish right now is saying that, you know what, we don't have our starting quarterback, but our number 2 guy, we're going to try to pass the ball, because I'm sure Coach Jervis and his staff was thinking, okay, they're not going to try doing that much passing tonight, but that's the 4th attempt we've seen this evening.
We haven't, rolling him out to the harder side to throw on, which is the left.
And it was also the shorter side,
yeah.
So he doesn't have as much time to read.
Well, Old Forge typically go to the short side a lot of their offense. Here we go again. Pepson Third down and short coming up. Here are your Grotto Pizza keys to the game for Old Forge.
Well, I'll tell you, that's not unusual to say play physical. Coach Schubeck, that's what he wants. And again, every coach never wants to have a turnover because you don't want to give the other team any type of momentum or field position.
I misspoke. That was third down, so fourth down coming. Guess who kicks? You got it, Di Gregorio.
There we go.
22.
Special teams, too.
Never,
wow.
He's not going to lead the field. Barrios back to receive, so kicker, quarterback to quarterback. Low line drive. Everyone gets away, and it dies right around the 28-yard line, and that's where the Lions will take over. So we checked out Old Forge keys from Grotto Pizza. How about we check out what we have for Lackawanna Trail? And we will shortly. And, you know, time possession, I know you want to control the clock is one of them.
And that's what Coach wants. And, again, discipline on defense. And that comes down to the defensive line not jumping, not getting baited into doing the jumps on the hard counts. Coach Jervis also felt that sometimes that there's been some flags that were questionable, and he really emphasized this week when we were at practice during his tackling circuit to make sure that their wrapping and the hands are nowhere near the face mask or helmet.
Inside to Melnikov. Nowhere to go. Bunch of players in there for Old Forge.
Well, Ray Melnikov, I'm not going to say has a target on him, but he's used to that because he is the guy that is the main runner and rusher for the Lackawanna Lion Trails football team here. And he's just a really, 5'11", 215 pounds. He's a solid kid. He's got great strength, and he's scored 5 touchdowns this year, and he's just going to keep pounding away. Hopefully, the Blue Devil defense will get worn out.
The wind kicks up every so often. If you see the flags, they are going left to right and pretty standing straight up for the most part. So the wind is at the back of the trail. Melnikov again, he shoots out. Going to be close to a trail first down. And that's what Melnikov can do, keep those legs moving.
And you'll see on this play, they just pull the backside guard, and Ray just follows his blockers up through, and that's where that toughness that he has, keeping those legs driving, gets those extra yards and got that first down for Lackawanna Trail.
Yeah, and on a very talented team a year ago, they, of course, went to the state finals before losing to Farrell. He gained almost 1,400 yards and 17 TDs, and he was only a sophomore.
And he's only going to get better, and the most important thing is he's going to get stronger. And he knows this offense that this Lackawanna Trail staff has implemented.
So a Luzerne County Community College first down for the Lions. Pepson in on Barrios, and he looked like he was shot out of a cannon. He actually gets a sack on that.
He does. On this play, Kevin Pepson's a linebacker that just came buzzing in. Full speed. And again, he made Barrios miss, but then he got the tackle. Or his teammates got that tackle for the loss.
Yeah, Nikoloff finally got him down. It goes as a loss. So a little bit more passing than I might have expected so far for the Lions.
I think
and really for both teams.
For both teams.
What was
We're really surprised.
Over-under was 12, right? We talked about this in
yes,
pregame.
Yes, we did.
Here they in double handoff, and they get it. I think that's Cresswell. And Cresswell shoots through just past the 50.
This is a really difficult play to stop with the crisscross action because you're taught to respect your keys. You got to read your keys. You don't want to start flowing out because then all of a sudden instead of the fullback not getting the ball or handing it back off to the halfback coming across, he keeps it. So they have to respect each of their keys on this.
So the first time tonight, the Lions are on the Old Forge side of the field. Just about 8 minutes left in the half. Still 6-0, Old Forge. Blue Devils at one point this season were ranked number 1 in the state in Class A before last week's loss to Dunmore. I think they've fallen to number 4. Melnikoff tripped up.
Again, the offensive line, Mark Dunkel and Josh Semkin out there doing that counter tray where they're both pulling on the screen towards us. And then again, the patience of the running backs that Lackawanna Trail has is they allowed it to set up and make the blocks to try to get that extra yard.
Against Montrose this year, Trail put up 456 yards on the ground. So we know they can run it.
Yes, they can, and that's one of the things with the wing tee. It's a grind them out, get lots of yardage, and they have a...
It's picked off, and this could be a pick six. Dietz picks it off, and it's a Figure Law Firm Old Forge touchdown.
Johanna Ella, the junior, just did a nice job stepping right in front of that and taking it.
That was an easy one for Dietz, and I could see that coming a mile away. Barrios with the fake, and just put it out there as a floater. Extra point is up and through. And off the pick six, 6:59 remaining in the half. Old Forge extends their lead now, 13-0. So the sophomore Dietz steps in front of the Barrios pass. He goes in for a pick six, and that's where we stand right now. The Blue Devils out in front, 13-0, and that was kind of an ill-advised pass by Barrios. Tried to get there, and there was too many blue jerseys around.
There was, and again, the wind may have had a little bit of a factor in that with the way that it's blowing across the field right now, but he's got to add a little bit more zip to that ball. He just floated it out there, as you mentioned, Bob.
Of course, Barrios, it's his first year starting as well, so we're 7 games in. He's only had 7 games under his belt.
Yeah, and that's true, but he knows what the expectations need to be, especially in a game of this importance this evening.
So a Keystone College kickoff again for Old Forge, and Achu gets to the ball, still alive. Resto jumped on it. And things going wrong for Trail to have the ball at the 21.
Cam Graphics is your #1 source for printing in Northeast Pennsylvania. They offer screen printing, embroidery, graphics, and more. Stop in their store at 210 Scranton Carbondale Highway in Einan to check out the latest trends in school spirit wear. One call gets it all at Cam Graphics. 2019 Weekender Reader's Choice for Best T-Shirt Printer.
So there is Barrios after the pick six. The Lions have the ball back, now trailing by 13. To the ground they go. Melnikoff, he's going to break out a little bit, holds on to the ball, and he's past the 40, so a 20-yard gain.
Look at the speed. Look at the offensive line. They come with that counter tray, and he just pounds it up inside. He looked a little surprised coming through there that he wasn't getting hit.
See two Blue Devils hanging on, trying to take down the big fullback. So the best runner of the night for Melnikoff. And against Dunmore this year, the Lions, Melnikoff had 15 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game.
He is the guy for the Lackawanna Trail Lions.
Play action. Oh, he's got a wide open player down the middle, but instead he goes short to Halter. He makes the catch, though. About a 25-yard gain up to the 30, 44, but boy, he had somebody streaking literally down the middle, wide open.
And one of the things is, here you go, he does a fake to Melnikoff, which freezes the linebackers, and it opens up that zone where he went. That's that dead zone right behind the linebackers. And Barrios, again, as a quarterback, you have to have a short memory. Something bad happened, let it go, and 2 passes right now that he's done a tremendous job with.
Yeah, 2 very good passes, so the Lions on the move. Barrios keeps it. He carries a bunch of players. Give him about 7.
You want to give confidence back to your running back or a quarterback? Give him the ball. Look at this. The offensive line does a nice job sealing that, and he's just reaching that 6'3" body of his to get every inch for the Lackawanna Trail Lions.
He carried Pepsin for about 2-3 yards extra on that. So now the offense getting it in gear for Lackawanna Trail. They average around 34 points per game, 304 yards on the ground per game. There's that reverse again. It's Cresswell again. Almost broke it. But it is a Luzerne County Community College first down at the 30.
Here we go. It's that crisscross play. That is one of the bread butter plays of the Delaware Wing T offense, which the Lackawanna Trail has taken a page out of their playbook with that. Delaware Blue Hens, I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, Tubby Raymond did a tremendous job making this offense what it is.
Melnikoff weaving through and carrying players up inside the 20. Ball came out, but they said he was down. And I think it's another Luzerne County Community first down for Lackawanna Trail.
And here we go. This is just what we call a G power. The backside guard pulling, kicking the first man he sees. Melnikoff has the patience, and he just cuts it right up in back of the pulling guard.
Casey Holtzman, number 4, with the tackle. And they are inside the Allied Services red zone for the first time tonight. Down 13. Barrios shooting through. He finds a little gap and it gets up inside the 10.
On this play, you're going to see Ray Melnikoff do something that fullbacks are always expected to do, and that's block. And he blows this up right up inside to allow Barrios to get up in there to get 9 yards on that carry.
So the clock reads 3:39, 13-0 Blue Devils, but the Lions have put their best drive of the night together, and they are knocking on the door at the Old Forge 10-yard line.
Parents, save money on your car insurance. Quad A Driving Academy is a certified PennDOT third-party tester. We have helped over 10,000 new drivers become safe and confident licensed drivers. Save money by checking us out today at quadadrive.com.
Well, another beautiful night for high school football. Just a little bit chillier than we've have seen the last couple of weeks, Jan.
Yeah.
But still, it's football weather. Jackets are out. Get some gloves, maybe in a hat tonight. But other than that, it's a pretty good game so far.
It's exactly what we expected. Two great story teams going at it for the district championship right now. I should say league championship, which will eventually be the district championship. And Bob, you mentioned the weather that we're having. It is October, and you said
Yes.
it earlier when we were doing our pre-staff meeting with the production team, and they said how fast this season's gone, that we are in now week 7.
I know. It always goes by fast. Just 4 weeks, including tonight, in the regular season. We're already looking at district playoffs. So after the timeout, here comes Trail. Sneak again. Barrios inside the 5. So it's a Luzerne County Community College first down and first and goal for Lackawanna Trail.
First and goal for the Lions.
Again, on this play, this is the same exact play they ran right before this, with their using Melnikoff almost as a decoy, but they're saying, you know what, he's our best blocker right now. In the backfield, we're going to run behind him.
It's all the guys up front, though. They have opened up the holes on this drive.
Semkin, Dunkel, Rodenbach, Vokes, and Schrigg.
Melnikoff bounces out and gets in for a figure law firm touchdown for Lackawanna Trail.
Bob, you mentioned those offensive linemen getting the job done right here. There's that backside guard pulling. Front side, there was a mess right there, and Melnikoff, he bumps it to the outside, extends the ball for that touchdown.
You see the strength and the ability and the great footwork from the junior running back, and now he's got to put the kicking shoe on.
Boy,
we said they do it all in Class A football. Barrios is the holder, Melnikoff the kicker.
It's amazing when you, again, I work at Tunkhannock, and this Lackawanna Trail's right next door to us, and these kids, they know what's expected. It's just really neat to see.
So Trail goes 8 plays, 79 yards, and they're down 6 now. A very impressive drive for the Lions.
The Lions took off about 6 minutes off the clock, Bob, as you just mentioned, about the time and ball control, which is one of the keys that Coach Jervis wanted to have tonight.
Well, Barrios shook off that pick 6 nicely. He had a couple big throws in that and some runs.
Some great runs on that. I mean, right there's the touchdown run. You saw that congestion I talked about where Melnikoff comes up, hits, bounces it to the outside, and that's why that young man is pretty special for this Lackawanna Trail football team.
And that's why this rivalry is so good. I mean, Trail didn't phase them at all that they were down. They came right back, put a beautiful drive together, and it looks like they're down 6, and that's the game we expect tonight. It'll be close throughout. So Melnikoff changes his shoe. He'll come back out on the kicking team. Doing the kickoffs, looks like Cole Chablasky, the sophomore. It is 55, and it'll be a Keystone College kickoff for the Lions, their first one tonight. Carry back to receive, along with number 10, Linwood, Jackson Linwood. Now I like Chaplowski. He gets a nice running start, but he still live ball. Old Forge falls on it. Let's go down to Paul Grippy, and I think it's Casey Dental Smile Cam. Who'd you find for smiles tonight, Paul?
Bob, I've heard that people in Old Forge have the best smiles in the entire conference, so we're going to put that to the test. Everyone, this is Casey Dental's Smile Cam, so let's hold up your things and let's see all your great smiles, and let's wave because your parents are watching and they want to make sure you're at the game.
I don't know where Paul went, but that big head there, that had the best smile at all. Did you see the big head?
Those big
that wasn't
white
a
teeth.
Paul, right? That was not a Paul, right?
No.
So Dietz gets his first carry of the night, and he's an interesting sophomore. And he's come in, Coach, and against Holy Redeemer, he had 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's 397 yards on the season, so we got almost half of that in one game. And he's really provided some rest for Pepsin.
And he really has. And that's a great team to get experience against. Again, Holy Redeemer down there in the valley. But these guys up here have to understand that next man mentality.
DiGregorio, play action, throws it deep. Comes back for it, but it goes incomplete. A lot of hand jostling down there, but it was underthrown.
His technique on this, again, because he's not getting the reps as much, if you notice he was starting to throw off his front foot. He planted, and then I just felt his transition was a little bit too fast.
A lot of pushing.
Fight in there, yep.
I think a good no flag, though, at that point.
So. Oh, absolutely. You have 2 good teams going at it, and the officials do not want to be involved in trying to make a decision in the outcome of this game.
So we have not seen DiGregorio in the shotgun tonight.
No,
kind of surprising. Gets it out quick, and that just dropped. That wasn't the throw at all. Just tried to get it over to the freshman Casey Holtzman. It goes incomplete, and 3 and out now for the Blue Devils. Plenty of time for the Lions. 2 incomplete passes, and that stops the clock. 2:16 remaining in the half.
And that gives Lackawanna Trail almost a timeout that they used. It gives it back to them.
Yep. Low line drive. Oh, hit a Blue Devil right around the 33-yard line, and that's where Lackawanna Trail comes back out.
The Lackawanna Trail will try to, I would imagine, run this clock out and get that ball in the end zone, because to start the second half, the Blue Devils get the ball and they don't want to give them that advantage.
Trail started the season, Coach. Really, I think some people thought a surprising loss to Northwest, 8-7, but that came down to the last couple seconds of the game, didn't it?
And it was special teams
Yep.
that they went for the 2-point conversion and they beat them 8-7. And that was heartbreaking. And we want to talk about another rivalry. Coach Hazlitt down at Northwest really feels that his teams always get overlooked because of the schedule they play. And then Lackawanna Trail usually, nice run by Melnikoff.
Yeah, Melnikoff up for 10 yards. Finish your point on Northwest.
Well, Northwest, again, they really, like Coach Hazlitt feels like they're at a disadvantage because they have to play big schools all week in and week out, where Trail and Old Forge aren't having that type of experience, and their record then isn't indicative of how good their team is. So I know at the beginning of the year, that was really big for Coach Hazlitt to try to get that win with Trail.
Aren't they leaving the conference next year, Wyoming Valley?
Yes.
They are going over.
They are going. And I saw
what are they going to, the Mid-Penn or to the Heartland?
The Heartland Conference.
Okay. They'll still remain in District 2, however.
They will. And again, that's just because how strong he feels that his team needs to be competitive week in and week out. Not that they're not, but they want to play the schools that are going to get them a chance to get in the playoffs.
Play action. Barrios looking down the middle, and this one's picked off. Intercepted by Pepsin. Dragged down inside the Lions territory at the 35-yard line. Second INT of the night for Barrios.
On this one, Barrios is just telegraphing. What that means is he's staring at the receiver the entire time, which allows those linebackers now to follow his eyes and step into the path of the ball and pick it off like that.
Again, probably two ill-advised passes tonight from Barrios, but not unexpected. I mean, probably one of the better teams he's going to see on defense this year.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt, in their entire schedule right now, this is the best defense they've played all year.
Well, don't forget Dunmore. And against
That's
Dunmore,
true.
Barrios
That's
was
true.
1 for 5 for 10 yards, and they lost that game. DiGregorio trying to get the edge. He does. He steps out of bounds after 9 yards. And a flag comes in late.
DiGregorio's run out of bounds. There's a flag on the play.
Let's see what the flag is. Referees will discuss this one. They're from the Lackawanna Football Conference. 1:15 remaining. I believe Old Forge has all 3 timeouts left.
They do, and Trail has 2.
And I mean, Coach Schubeck has to be, the flag's going to be waved off, has to be happy with the way his quarterbacks come in and played tonight.
And has become that true leader on the field for that offense. And the offensive line probably felt a little bit more pressure this evening to make sure that they stay on their block a little bit longer. Make sure we get our technique, our head across, to give our quarterback a chance to win this game.
And here is the interception.
The interception, Barrios is on. I mean, he has time, and again, he just threw that just ill-advised at that point. And I'm sure I know Coach Service, who played quarterback in high school, he's going to talk to him, settle him down, and say, look, we have another half. We don't want you to lose this game for us.
That's exactly what they're doing on the Old Ford side. So Dunkel trips up Pepsin. Clock will stop after the first down.
Pepsin's carry results in Old Forge. First down.
Coach mentioned Blue Devils will get the kickoff in the second half. They deferred after they won the toss. So this could be, a 2-score opportunity.
But Coach Schubeck doesn't seem the sense of urgency to get the play right in and going right at the snap.
See if he calls timeout here, or if he's just going to try to work the clock, knowing he will get the ball. There is a timeout.
Number 77, Mark Dunkel on the stop.
So first timeout for
Old Forge.
Old Forge. But one thing Coach Schubeck would like to see, he'd like to see more competitive games in the first half of the season. And unfortunately, you play the schedule you're dealt. And unfortunately, and as Paul mentioned, Holy Cross did bow out before the season even started, so he got a bye. So as you see, lopsided wins early on. But now the second half will be a little bit harder.
He's got the meat of his schedule right now. And again, coming off the bye, everyone thinks that's a great thing. It does help in terms of injuries, but then when you have to come back and play Dunmore, that to start the hardest part of your schedule. And again, you can see they lost 13-12. Special teams was a huge fact in that game. Now Riverside, that's another crosstown rivalry. Northwest, they want to make a statement, and they end with Montrose.
Montrose, right. That schedule brought to you by Cam Graphics. Yep, next week they go down the road to face a tri-borough rival, Riverside, and a big game here against Northwest as well. After the timeout, 39 seconds remaining. DiGregorio a little quick out, and he's got Carey. Can Carey make a tackler miss? He does. Resto drags him out of bounds. A little late flag. This will be a late hit on Lackawanna Trail.
Coach Jervis said they have to be disciplined on defense, and that's what he was emphasizing, and that's what he didn't want to happen, especially this late in the first half.
There's not a lot of room on the sidelines here, as you know, at Old Forge. So,
Dead ball, personal foul, white, half the distance, first down.
Again, the player safety is the number one factor for coaches and officials. And when you have a short sideline like that, there's no room for error on that.
So it's a Luzerne County Community College first down, and looks like Old Forge will be inside the Allied Services red zone, inside the 10 at the 9-yard line after the personal foul call. So a break for the Blue Devils. Just 31 seconds remaining in this half. They have 4 tries to get it in.
And 2 timeouts.
DiGregorio trying to get anything. Flag comes in, and the Trail's got him for a loss. Barrios in there, as well as Cresswell. But let's see what the flag is. If it's a hold or anything, do you take it after, even though it's a sack?
Well, yeah, you want to back them up, make them go further because it's
right?
a spot foul. So you'll see right here, they go student body left. Lackawanna Trail does a nice job of the pursuit angles in there, and they come back and they just get up and they keep going. That was number 5 that made that initial hit.
It is a holding against Old Forge, and that it will back them up. I was mistaken, it was not a sack, as he was trying to run the ball. So the ball's placed still inside the Allied Services red zone, Coach, at the 20. But it's first and goal from there.
First and again, you don't have that in your playbook, 1st and 20.
Now with 20 seconds left. Big hit on the quarterback, no flag as Brown shot in. It goes incomplete.
They had those 2 big, Brown and Melnikoff, putting pressure right in his face. And for a first game quarterback, that's always tough to do, to try to handle that adversity at this point.
Old Forge calls timeout. Oh, he talked about the special teams in the kicking game. This is well out of sight of, I would think, field goal range, because the wind is actually blowing in their face.
And that would be, and again, when you don't have a really good special teams or a kicker at this point, you're not. I know Coach Schubeck, that's not even thinking about that.
But with 9 seconds left, 20 yards to go, that's going to be tough to do.
It would be,
to say the least, right?
Yeah.
So a break for the Lions.
And we talk about next man up, but I don't. When it comes to kicking, you don't want to say, "Yeah, hey, Bob, can you kick? Go ahead."
No,
you don't want to do that.
No. So Coach Schuback going to call the play. So how do you play this out as we take a look at the crowd here at Veterans Memorial Stadium? Do you try to just get 10, call timeout?
That's what I would do. Just try to get that first down. It makes it more manageable. And now Coach knows that his quarterback can run and he can pass. So I wouldn't be surprised right now to see the bootleg action in here again.
Under the tight end, too, Zach Weaver already has one touchdown. Yep. So he could be a factor.
Now we do see him in shotgun with the spread offense.
Here comes the big rush. He has time. He's going to go towards the end zone. And this one is picked off as well. Owen Lisk, I believe, number 10, picked it off for Lackawanna Trail. And he'll bring it out. And a big stop for the Lions.
That's number 10, Owen Lisk.
On that interception, he did a tremendous job stepping up in front of that. He had, again, DeGregorio, I apologize to the family, has done a nice job. He had time to throw that. Again, he's just throwing a little bit too much off his back foot.
So that holding call really cost them because they had first and goal. So this should be a knee, and then it will be halftime. So a break for the Lions. They will trail only by 6. But Old Forge will get the ball to begin the third quarter. Paul Grippy now standing by with Coach Schuback. Paul?
Coach, you've held them to 7 points in this half. You have the 2 interceptions. How do you feel the way your defenses look today?
Oh, they're doing well. They just got to read their keys on that sweep, and we got to, not run up the field on the trap.
And your quarterback, Mike DiGregorio, what do you think of his performance in the first half?
I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's a heck of a competitor right now. He's rallied the kids going forward, and we're looking forward to receive the kickoff in the second half.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. We'll see you in the second half. Old Forge will take the locker room with the lead.
Coming up on the Toyota halftime report, we'll check in with the news crew from the Fox 56 News first at 10. Paul Grippy will have a special interview with our friends from Allied Services, and then Jan and I will be back in the booth with first half highlights. At the half, Old Forge leads 13-7.
You're watching Allied Services Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
And as the teams get ready to prepare for the second half of football tonight, we visit the Allied Services facility here in Clark Summit with some exciting news. I'm joined by Bill Conboy, the president of Allied Services. And Allied always has been expanding, but this past week, a new expansion into Wilkes-Barre.
Yes, thanks very much. It's really a great week for the Allied Services healthcare system, for the Diocese of Scranton, for the communities of Northeast and Central Pennsylvania, and most importantly, for the residents, the patients, and the employees of the facilities in Wilkes-Barre that Allied Services purchased from the Diocese of Scranton.
And you've been building up to this for a while, looking at it, and finally purchased them this past week. What's your intentions with those facilities?
Yes, after months of work, we intend with these facilities, which are formerly known as Little Flower Manor and St. Therese Residence, which are on Meade Street in Wilkes-Barre, and formerly known as St. Luke's Villa, which is on Northampton Street in Wilkes-Barre. These are skilled nursing facilities, personal care facilities, and one independent living facility. So our intent is to continue the wonderful tradition of care that the Diocese of Scranton has provided for many years, and to bring our resources to improve those facilities and hopefully to improve the care, although it's always been terrific, but to bring our skill set, our clinicians, our expertise to those facilities and continue to operate them as they are.
Yes, the diocese made the establishment in the community, and now Allied Services will continue their work and grow it, make it big, make it prosperous for years to come. And most importantly, you're continuing with the residents, you're continuing with all the staff there as well.
Absolutely. We made that commitment with the diocese when we reached the agreement to purchase the facilities. Certainly to continue to operate them as they are, again, to bring our expertise to all those levels of care. But also, we kept all the employees that wanted to stay with us. Certainly some chose to retire, etc. But the great majority, nearly 400 employees, now become employees of Allied Services, bringing our numbers of employment in this community to an excess of 4,000 employees.
So we're one of the largest employers in northeastern and central Pennsylvania, but again, it's always about community with Allied. This is in the heart of Wilkes-Barre. You're going to establish yourself as part of the neighborhood, helping all of Wilkes-Barre, the city, branching out into Luzerne County. That's what Allied does best.
Thank you. That really is our commitment. That's our mission. That's the difference with a not-for-profit healthcare system. Part of our mission is not only the care that we provide, but also to strengthen the communities where we operate. And we're really thrilled to be in this part of Wilkes-Barre. We, of course, have our campus in Wilkes-Barre, the John Hines campus on Mundy Street, but now we move into another section of Wilkes-Barre, and we look forward to continuing to grow these operations and to supporting the community and our employees and the people we care for.
And always good to see a business growing and prospering in northeastern Pennsylvania and doing well. And I'm sure this isn't the end. I'm sure down the road we'll have more announcements because Allied is always growing. But for now, exciting news this week, and I know there's a lot of thrills around the Allied Services community.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Okay, Bill Conboy, the president of Allied Services. They're growing and expanding, and this week the announcement is in Wilkes-Barre. We thank them for their support all season long, and we'll be back with the second half of football right here on Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.
We are back in Old Forge. The crowd a little bit bundled up tonight, a chill in the air, but still they're enjoying a Blue Devils 13-7 win. As we have all season, Allied Services is happy to present a $250 check to the Old Forge High School on hand. The principal, Chris Gatto, and from Allied Services, we have Bernie Strobel and Joanne Graziano. So we thank Old Forge for having us tonight in this game with Lackawanna Trail. We bring it back into the booth. Bob Ide and Jan Cechak, former Tunkhannock area coach, and kind of the game we expected to see. A lot of running and very hard hitting.
And surprisingly, passing, which we haven't seen from either of these teams, especially with a first-time quarterback for the Old Forge Blue Devils.
Yeah, let's talk about Michael DiGregorio. Other than you not being able to say his name, he's played pretty well.
He's played excellent. He's done a great job with the bootlegs. And when we get to the highlights, you're going to see that first touchdown pass that he had, which was tremendous bootleg, and he did a great job reading that.
Well, let's get to those highlights right now.
And right now you'll see here he rolling to his right. He sets up. He had a good lead block, and he's just being very patient, not forcing the ball in there. And there he is.
Weaver.
Boom. Weaver for the touchdown.
That was a 12-yard pass and pretty good precedent to set. Up 13-0. Trail put a nice drive together, about 79 yards on 8 plays.
On 8 plays, 80 yards, and Melnikoff does a nice job with his blocks. And on this play right here, Barrios is just, like I said earlier, he's just a little bit impatient, and he's telegraphing that ball, and that was an easy pick for Pepsin on that.
And Old Forge had it, first and goal, but a holding call put them back at the 20, and DiGregorio, probably his worst pass of the night. Owen List picks it off to really end the half.
And again, that's a young quarterback trying to make something happen. That really, just a little bit more patience and more experience, and he's going to do a great job for the Old Forge Blue Devils.
Okay, second half keys, first for the Lions.
For the Lions, they're going to just have to try to now play a little bit more discipline on defense in terms of trying to shut the passing game down, which we didn't expect tonight.
How about for the Blue Devils?
The Blue Devils, I think that crisscross pattern is they're just over pursuing with their front line. They're getting sucked up, and that's what's creating that running lane. And again, if they can stop Melnikoff, I think they're going to do. They'll be successful tonight.
Yeah, they have been able to run the ball. So Paul Grippy tracking down Steve Jervis, and I think he has him on the sidelines. Paul?
Okay, Coach, you found yourself down by 6 points here at halftime. How do you feel about trailing this team right here?
Well, I think we had a big stop there at the end of the half. Gained a lot of momentum there. We kind of put ourselves in a bad situation. But, hey, there's a lot of game to play, 6-point game. I think we did a great job sustaining that drive. I think we need to get back to just doing what we do.
You showed resiliency, overcoming the 2 interceptions that you guys threw. But what do you tell your team to avoid making more mistakes like that?
I mean, you play loose, you do your job, you know what I mean? And, I take some responsibility there too, you know what I mean? We were trying to get a quick score. I think we're better when we just kind of are methodical and do what we do.
Okay, Coach, thanks a lot. You'll start on defense here in the third quarter, trailing by 6.
Trailing by 6, but, other than the interception, that drive they put together really showed what they can do against this defense.
And how well the ball control, and there wasn't that sense of urgency. Let's rush. They took their time, and 8 plays, 80 yards. I think it was 80 yards or 79 yards,
Yep.
Bob. That's tremendous to be able to start at your own 20 and then march it down the field.
Well, both quarterbacks kind of knew. If you're just joining us, Dante Lucarelli, who started 29 games for Old Forge, is out sick tonight, so he wasn't able to play. Of course, he's thrown for almost 3,600 yards in his career, so this is a big loss. But Michael DiGregorio, the second best wide receiver on the Blue Devils, has stepped right in, and he's done a nice job running the offense tonight for Old Forge.
Well, I overheard the Old Forge, longtime play-by-play guy saying they didn't expect to see the normal Old Forge offense tonight. They thought there would be some different wrinkles, but he has just stepped in and done a tremendous job. And Coach Schubeck, I would like to have been a fly on the wall in the locker room to hear what he would say to him. I mean, he's probably built that kid up, and he's given him the confidence. And that interception right before the half is really inconsequential at this point.
Chablasky, the sophomore, tees it up. Old Forge expecting a short pass, a short kick, I should say. And we're underway in the second half with a Keystone College kickoff. It takes a huge line bounce. Carey picks it up inside the 10-yard line. Jumps over a player and just past the 27-yard line.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you by the legendary taste of Grotto Pizza, a northeastern Pennsylvania favorite since 1953. Order online now at www.grottopizza.com.
So the Blue Devils come back out. The stats pretty close to one another. Not favoring either team. Both have put a good drive together to get their touchdowns. The only difference is that pick 6 by Kevin Pepson. I should say by Dietz in that second quarter. And this is Pepson from his tailback position up for a couple of yards.
Bob, you just mentioned how close this game is, and we mentioned that during our video blog during the week, how they're almost identical in all their statistics, offensively and defensively. And the other similarities that they have in common, unfortunately, they both lost to Dunmore.
Yes, they did. And Dunmore tonight playing against Wyoming area at the half, tied at 7. Bucks are team on the rise. Back from the eye. It's a big hole this time for Dietz. And he shoots through for about 17 yards for the sophomore. It's almost like thunder and lightning back there. You got a little bit of Pepson and a little bit of Dietz.
On that last play, if you'll watch this, you're going to see that they stand number 76 up and they turn him, which created that huge hole in the inside, and that was a great run.
Both offensive lines tonight have done their job that needed to be done, making the holes for their backs. So a Luzerne County Community College first down for Old Forge. Back to Dietz, who with a nice head of steam comes up, shoots up for 8.
32, Dietz on the carry.
I'll tell you, that sophomore running back that Coach Schubeck has back there, Dietz, is really showing us what he can do. He's got a great burst once he gets that ball, and he's through that offensive line, deep into that second level of the Lackawanna Trail defense.
What it does is really give Pepsin a little bit of play off, because he does play on the defensive side. It gives him a rest.
And kicks.
And kicks.
And returns.
Oh, no, that's Di Gregorio. I'm talking about Pepsin. It works a couple times, do it again off the left side. It's a Luzerne County Community first down. Inside lines territory at the 39.
You'll just see that Old Forge is just doing basic smash mouth football with the ISO play, where the fullback's leading up through, and Dietz is just getting huge chunks of yardage right now.
Good blocking up front for Old Forge. Colin Holtzman, number 4, is the fullback. Just underway here in the second half. Same play, same accomplished goal, 6 yards.
Right here, this is just the ISO play again, and then, boy, Dietz has just got a great burst, and like I was saying, Bob, he's getting 5-6 yards a clip. That makes your offensive call so much simpler. Kevin Pepsin coming back into the game.
It's good when you can have that tandem back there. And both have good speed, can hold on to the ball. Gives each one a break. Goes a blitz. Pepsin still has a hole. Pepsin shoots through, and Pepsin is going to be gone for a figure law firm touchdown for Old Forge, 34 yards.
You'll see on this replay, the left guard, left tackle pulling, leading away from Pepsin on here. There they go across your screen, and they just seal down, kick out, and there goes Pepsin for a touchdown for the Blue Devils.
Rose and Rasmus on that side do a nice job. Granitsky in for the PAT to extend the Blue Devil lead. Hits the uprights and will fall incomplete. But a nice drive put together, 8:09 remaining in the third. The Blue Devils up now, 19-7. We are back. Old Forge takes the opening kick of the third quarter. Jan, 6 plays, 73 yards, all on the ground. That's one way to establish the second half game plan.
And take 4 minutes off of the almost 4 minutes off that clock. And the way they did that with, the, as you said, the thunder and lightning backfield of Pepsin and Dietz. Coach Schuback told us earlier he was really happy with how these kids have committed also not to the weight room but to the track program. And you can see the results of how quick those kids are.
Of course, the track program is run by Riverside, and it's a shared agreement. First time in a long time, and it has really helped allow these players on the field for the Blue Devils. So another Keystone College kickoff now by Kerrigan. This is a little short kick taken by an up man, and they fall on it, and that's where Lackawanna Trail will have the ball at the 38-yard line.
Saturday means one thing, and that's college football. Starting at 11 is the Fox College pregame show. At noon, it's a Big Ten matchup as number 14 Iowa takes on number 19 Michigan. Then at 4, another Big Ten battle as Northwestern plays Nebraska. The primetime game matches up 2 Pac-12 teams, Cal and number 13 Oregon. Saturday, college football on Fox 56.
So Nico Barrios is back. The inside handoff not working this time. Kyler Rose, or is that Jaden? I can't see. Jaden Rose gets the hit. He's the 315-pound junior.
On this touchdown, you see 52 and 63 leading the way. They kick out and block out, and that opens up that alley for Pepsin to run in there for that touchdown.
2-yard loss on the last play from the Lions after you saw that touchdown for Old Forge. So putting the pressure back onto the quarterback, Barrios. He'll keep it. A little bit of a hole. He shoots through. It's going to be 3rd and long for Lackawanna Trail.
Well, Lackawanna Trail right now is trying to double team that big number 57, Jaden Rose, the 315-pound junior, because they don't want him to do what he just did on second down, or first down, getting that 2-yard loss.
Well, I don't know what Coach Schuback said to his team. They look more aggressive here in the second half on defense anyway, so far. A lot of experience on the Lions team from that state run a year ago. They're going to need it here tonight. What may be the first meeting of the season between these two teams. Melnikoff, he is tough to take down, but I think he's going to be short of the first.
We talk about second and third efforts on football, and here's a great example. Melnikoff, he gets hit at the line of scrimmage, keeps the legs going, and keeps that drive. He's doing a great job. I'll tell you, this guy he's really special for the Lackawanna Trail Lions.
Yeah, 17 TDs a year ago. Very impressive on that team. So 4th down, and I think Coach Jervis now down 12. Going to roll the dice a little bit right near midfield, Coach. Must feel confident in that run.
Well, again, he's telling his offensive line, I believe in you guys. Now let's get the job done. We need 2 yards. Let's get the first down, and we'll just keep going.
They're going to run the play, and they do. The ball comes out. They said he was down. And that's the first time we've called Jeffrey Resto's number tonight, and he picks up the first.
He did on that. The ball was definitely down. The official was right there on it. And again, use Melnikoff when you have to, and then when a play like that, that was a good call. Give it to somebody they wouldn't expect to carry it.
Luzerne County Community College first down. Resto, he's a senior. He's been around 4 years. Has 278 yards this year and 5 touchdowns. See if we see more than him. Play action over the middle, and there's Resto again. Resto up to the 20-yard line, a 30-yard gain for the Lions.
Right here on this play, Barrios again does a nice job setting up. He has time. That's a credit to that offensive line. He had to jump to get that ball off because there's pressure right at the very end. And number 20, Jeff Resto, like we said, you never know when your number is going to be called. And these kids are really playing great football tonight. 2
touches in a row for Resto, and he has the Lions now inside the Allied Services red zone. Oh, there's a high snap. Who's going to get it? Barrios is lucky to fall on it.
That's
big mistake.
That's a heads-up play for the first-year quarterback Barrios, just to fall on it, not to try to make anything happen. Just get there, secure the ball. Okay, so now we have 2nd and 25.
Yeah, loss of looks like 11 yards.
21.
No, 16 yards. Loss of 16 on that, and surprising from Rodenbach. He's a senior in there. That really sets the Lions back. Barrios is going to try to keep it, try to get the edge. He does not. A flag comes in. Dietz makes the stop. Another loss for the Lions. Loss of 5.
They're trying to get Barrios to go to the left, and there was just too much pressure from the defensive end and the outside linebacker coming up, and then they're going to call, I believe, a hold.
Block in the back, actually.
Okay.
I think they'll take it. Back up Lackawanna Trail. So Trail had the ball at the Blue Devils' 20-yard line just about, 30 seconds ago.
Yep.
During the play, block in the back against White. 10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
Now they're back to the 48. on their side of the field is Coach Jervis talking to his coaches upstairs, trying to figure out something.
Well, when you have 2nd and 40, there's not – I don't know any coach in the nation that would have a play for 2nd and 40 at this point.
It's 32.
But, I apologize. I apologize. That makes it – then they might have
They
one.
have to get to the 10. Let's just put it that way. It is 42. You were right. See? I can't add. Barrios just keeps it, and he's going nowhere. Weaver is the first guy that took him down, and we have a shaken up Lion getting up slowly.
RJ Shrigg.
Shrigg, yep. The sophomore, he's up. 3rd down upcoming. Now it's, I think, what is it, a field position game, right?
It is. Just try to gain maybe 10 yards and then punt the ball on 4th and try. I'm sure coaches already know this. He's going to try to probably corner kick so there is no return. And that way you'll hopefully pin the Old Devils back deep in their zone.
Lackawanna will show 2 wideouts to this near side. Barrios is going to quick kick it. Speaking of what he has said, it's going to take a roll, and it goes in the end zone. Wow, almost a great kick. It almost died at the 1-yard line, but Old Forge is lucky. It goes as a touchback.
Well, on this, again, that was he caught Old Forge not expecting it. And, again, his kids were there, and that was just actually, it's a really, I like that play. That's a real heads-up play.
So Barrios with the quick kick, 2:28 remaining here in the 3rd. And now Old Forge will take over around their own 20-yard line. Now it's time for the Lions defense to step up, which they really haven't had, done that yet in the last couple of series against the Blue Devils.
Again, the offensive line of the Blue Devils has really been getting great leverage against the Trails defensive line, which is allowing those holes to open up.
Again, a lot of these players going both ways. Back to the eye. It's worked the last series, and Pepsin up for only 1. Resto in there on the stop.
On this, we got a little counter action where you see Pepsin took a step to his left and then he cuts back to his right. The right side of the offensive line is going to be stepping towards the Old Forge bench, trying to get everybody to flow.
Miles Edwards, I think the sophomore as defensive end, got the first stop. Old Forge now just wants to run the clock down.
Well, they took their 4 minutes off, and then Trail had a nice drive going, and then they just, they hurt themselves, and they're going to have to overcome that.
Dietz gets flipped over. So 3rd down upcoming.
And you'll see on this play right there, he's just coming in. And look at that. Nice job by the
Barrios.
all those white jerseys right around there, maintaining their gap integrity and their responsibility. And they stuffed them there. So now they got a 3rd and 6.
Yep, it was Barrios who made that tackle. Deach trying to get the edge and pick up a block, and he's going to get it. And he passes the 30, and they'll move the chains. It's a Luzerne County Community College first down.
They go toss left, and you just can see how the stalk blocking of the receivers just gave them enough to get that first down out there. That was number 10 on that stalk block outside. That was Jackson Linwood, the senior, doing a nice job for the Devils.
It is senior night here in Old Forge. Oh, by the way. And not a lot of seniors on this Old Forge team.
Which gives them a bright future, but again, Coach Schubeck has been doing this for a long time. He doesn't care about the future. He's worried about the present time right now.
Should be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Back to Dietz, holds on to the ball and shakes a couple tackles out into the open. Gets a couple blocks and finally is brought down inside Lions territory.
You'll see first contact was made right there by number 5 for old Lackawanna Trail, and he just had great patience, Dietz did, on that, and he just doubled. You saw him, he covered the points of the ball. He didn't want it to come out.
Ella makes the stop, and that's the last play of the third. Old Forge on the move, trying to extend their lead as we head to the fourth quarter. Back in the pizza capital of the world. Jan Sechek, Bob Ide, and Paul Grippy in Old Forge, if you didn't know. And the Blue Devils lead the Lions in this Class A matchup in District 2, 19-7. Only one score this half, and it was Old Forge who had a nice drive as well. And they have the ball now inside Lion territory, really trying to put this one away, Jan, I think with a touchdown.
And again, you know this game is not going to be over. If Old Forge scores right now, I probably would bet that Trail will come right back and score, put another great drive together like they did that first half.
They've done it on the ground primarily, have the Blue Devils in that third quarter eating up a lot of time. Uncle comes up with the ball, but he was down.
On this play, you'll see that the offensive line of the Blue Devils now is getting great leverage, and they're standing the 2 interior guys of Lackawanna Trail up, which is allowing the running backs to have their way in there.
Well, Trail did give up 216 yards to Dunmore this year on the ground. That was the high coming in. Old Forge is nearing that in this one. So if you can run the ball at this level, you have a good chance of winning. That's what we're seeing tonight. Holzman fell down. They go quickly to the option, and they lose about 7 yards.
Well, that was, again, that was a miscue. The fullback fell, a heads-up play by Gregorio doing a nice job, and again, improvising with the option, which is something that wasn't they were trying to do.
But that's a break for the Trail.
It was.
Because now it's 3rd and long. You figure with Old Forge, two downs to get the 10 back, right?
Absolutely. Bob, now you were mentioning earlier about how last week Trail gave up over 200 yards of rushing against Dunmore.
Well, not last week, but when they did play Dunmore.
When they did. The problem is they're playing the hardest part of their schedule now. So it always gets misleading. But again, these teams, Coach Schubeck calls timeout.
So he wants to talk it over with his team. Just over 10 minutes to play here at home as Old Forge next week gets their rival Riverside. How about we take a look at some District 2 standings going in. This is the sub-regional, with you include Williamsport in that, and really Delaware Valley's running away with it. Scranton and West Scranton, if you didn't hear, will be played on Sunday at 4 o'clock in the Battle of the Bell, but Scranton's playing really well.
They really are, and the way that they do things down there, they have such great athletes, and their quarterback, I have seen some of the highlight films, he can run the ball really well.
Probably Delaware Valley's to lose, though, I mean, in the
it
district. But, you know, Wilkes-Barre's right there. They have a tough game tonight against Valley West, and we'll see Wilkes-Barre next week against Wallenpaul Pack. Well, you and I won't.
We won't.
But Paul and Stan will.
Stan's stomping grounds where he was coach for years up at Wallenpaul Pack.
Okay, so after the timeout, Blue Devils come back out. It's 3rd down and 10. He's in the shotgun, DeGregorio is, for the first time tonight. Gonna roll. He's got room to run if he wants. He's dangerous. He's a good athlete. He's tiptoeing down, and he's gonna have a 1st down and more.
They went with a balanced offense that time. Tight end flanker was towards us. He was looking for the tight end. The tight end slipped off right from the get start. And this is a great heads up. Look at that, tiptoeing down that sideline. Beautiful balance.
So it's a Luzerne County Community College 1st down. It's at the 18, which means they're in the Allied Services red zone. So I said it was 2 plays to get 10. Well, they only needed 1. And they got a little bit more than 10, did DiGregorio, and that's what makes him dangerous.
And then they're coming right back out in that balanced formation. There's no one playing deep on the tight end side.
Pepson up, late flag comes in. Initial call looks like holding. It is against Old Forge. We've seen that a couple times from these teams tonight. Just penalties at the most inopportune times.
And if you look when these penalties have occurred, it's when the offense has been sustaining long drives and kids are, and they still are kids, and they will get tired. And their technique will then lack, and then they'll do something like that. They'll just hold in.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
So the ball is back at the 27, and really now the only thing Old Forge is fighting is the clock. They just want the clock to roll down. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely, and Coach is not going to be trying any urgency. He's got that clock. They have to reset. The play did. Okay, this one's the one to the right's not working.
It's back up now.
Yep.
So play action again. He rolled to his left. And like I said before, he keeps it. He should have done that before, and he didn't. And this time he weaves his way through. Where are they going to place him? He went out of bounds, just about the original line of scrimmage, Coach.
So he got that 10 yards back for the hold. And again, they're going with that bootleg action left. And I give him a lot of credit where he's trying to be patient. He's trying to find that receiver downfield.
And that's the play we saw in that first half, and that I said he should probably run. He might have run, but that time he did run, and he picked up the block from the outside as Kyler Rose was out there helping him.
And we said that in the first half. If they roll a right-handed quarterback to the right, it works a lot better too.
There's the ball on the grass, and it looks like Barrios has it for the Lions. Big hit. Let's see this one again.
On that play, Mark Dunkel was the one that comes in, and Barrios right there with the. Where's that? There it is, 77.
It was Dietz. It was actually Cresswell, I think, number 5, Coach.
Yeah,
Maybe we can see that again.
Yes, it was number 5 with the initial hit, but Dunkel came in with that punch the ball
Here it is
out.
again. It's Cresswell.
Yep.
And Dietz, the sophomore, just coughed it up, and boy, a big break for the Lions. 9:34, down 12. They have the ball at the 15. Their own 15, but still they have an opportunity. Resto up for a big gain of 15 yards. Didn't see him a lot in the first half, but right now he's making an impact here in the fourth quarter.
Huge between running and passing. They run the power G right here, and you see number 62 there, or 52, Jonathan Nikoloff pulling up inside there. Resto does a nice job squeezing that up inside for the first down and gives them a lot more room now to work.
Now the clock is against the trail. You think you have to go a little bit quicker at this point.
Right. You heard Coach say at halftime he doesn't want to put that pressure on the kids. Let's just let things unfold. We know what we have to do.
Oh, Resto couldn't pick up the block he needed that time, so minimal gain. This is where you got to get the play in quick. They'll bring it in with the wide receivers. Coach Jervis, 11th season here already. If he wins tonight, it'd be his 100th overall win
that's
as a
great,
coach.
That's a great monument.
Not at Trail, but at the schools he's been at.
Yeah.
Barrows didn't even look to pass. Old Forge read that, and a 3rd and long upcoming.
Right here, you see there's that power G again. They're just bringing that Ty Vokes on that one, pulling, wrapping around up inside. They see something inside that they're trying to establish.
I think the Blue Devils, though, at halftime made that adjustment nicely. They really stuffed the middle
They really
in this half.
And it doesn't hurt to have a 315-pound kid and 245-pound kid in there.
No, that doesn't hurt. They will give it to Melnikoff. And he breaks 2 tackles, carrying Blue Devils for a first down. They had him stop short. Instead, he's up to the 44 for a Luzerne County Community College first down.
And it wasn't just the initial hit, it was the second and third hit, and he just keeps going. There it is. Pull him again. I say Coach likes to do this. I've known Steve for a long time, and if he sees something, he's going to keep it going until they stop it.
Brown on the second handoff, nowhere to go. Old Forge has pretty much neutralized that play.
I like the play call because they've been going with the G look, and now they're going to go misdirection, bring it backside.
6:45 and counting. You need a touchdown. You're down 12. You need 2 scores.
2 scores.
2 touchdowns you need.
Yes. With extra points.
Barrios surveying over the middle and almost threw it over Litwin's head, the freshman. He had him open, a little bit high.
It was. Again, he's 6'3", and Litwin looks like he's about 5'8", so that does make it a little bit difficult. And then he had pressure, Barrios had pressure in his face from the Blue Devils.
Barrios' best game this year came in against Carbondale area. He was 5 of 7, 155 yards and a touchdown. So he can throw the ball when needed, and he'll have to throw it now, I would think, most of this game. They give it to Melnikoff, hoping to break one, and he can't. That time he's ripped down. Nikoloff with the wrestle move. He wrestled him to the ground pretty quick.
I don't think he gets 2 points for the takedown, though.
Yeah. 4th down for Lackawanna Trail. They need this to keep the drive going, trailing by 12. Here comes the blitz. Pepson's picked up. Barrios has to throw, and he throws it down for Resto, and just out of the reach of the senior. Holtzman on the play for the defense, and Resto shaken up. So the ball goes over on down. Old Forge takes over, and I know there's a lot of smiles in the crowd for the Casey Dental Smile Cam. I think we got Elf in there, a couple of heads in there, and that's the Casey Dental Smile Cam, the Old Forge student section. Happy tonight. And why not? .533 remaining. Now the what they're talking about on the field are the play clocks at both end zones are malfunctioning. They're not synced up, Coach.
We had 40 and 20. Now we have 40 and 25. Technical difficulties. And again, if you go back just 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, we didn't really have those. They were kept on the field by the officials.
Now they look like they're synced up, and we are ready to go. And Old Forge takes over inside Lion territory at the 45-yard line. Trying to improve to 5-1 on the year and take control of the District 2 Class A points. They still do play Northwest in 2 weeks. Flag on, comes in.
It's in, blue, 5-yard penalty.
Too many men on the field?
It's only a 5-yarder. He was pounding his chest.
Oh, backs up Old Forge. Just 5. Again, want to run the clock. That's the really thing you want to do, right? For
just run
your
it
Old
out,
Forge.
right? I mean, they're sitting in the driver's seat right now. Oh, Lackawanna Trail would need 2 touchdowns to beat them.
Big push from Burkhart, Rose, and Nikoloff up front.
They get 5 yards back on this play. You'll just see it's just a base power play coming straight up, man on man. And you'll see that Lackawanna Trail that time did a better job with their defensive line keeping their pads low.
Pepsin wasn't touched by a white jersey until he was 5 yards down the field, though.
That's the second level. That's the linebacker.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to do a better job coming up and filling. And at this point in the game, I'm sure both sides are tired.
Under 5 to play. This is the other end. This is the Lightning, and Lightning. Dietz is up. He's up to the 30-yard line. Gain of 15.
And Josh Brown knocks them out of Browns. Right there, you see that they're getting those offensive linemen. They're bringing them out, wrapping them around outside, bringing them to the outside. And as you keep saying, Bob, we have a Thunder and Lightning in the backfield here for the Old Forge team. Speed and more speed, I believe.
Pepsin with Holtzman leading the way up and through for about 6. You get 6 every play. That's pretty good.
They're just going to run the ISO play here where the tailback's just following the fullback, and he's just picking the holes out where he wants to run. And Bob, like you said, 5 to 6 yards each time, and you want to run the clock out, this is the way to do it.
Yeah, Melnikoff, number 44, has his hands on his hips. So does Barrios. They play both ways, and it's a tiring game tonight.
And it's a very physical game. When you have that rivalry game, there's always that little extra oomph you're trying to get in there, and these kids have got to be tired.
Now the play clocks are off, so it'll be kept on the field, and Hezekiah Dietz up through. It's a Luzerne County Community College first down for Old Forge inside the Allied Services red zone.
Hezekiah Dietz, again, getting that job done. They're just going to run that ISO play in there. They're not doing anything fancy right now. And we know Coach Schubeck likes to play smash mouth football.
Well, in a game where they lost the starting quarterback, who had started 29 previous games, threw for almost 3,600 yards. This is still one of the better teams on the east side of the state.
It is, and again, they were ranked #1 as of 2 weeks ago. So
the other one, of course, in District 11, a perennial power down there is Williams Valley. And again, they're undefeated. Now you'll have to. The next question is, how does this affect Lackawanna Trail the rest of the season?
it's going to be a very uphill battle for the Lions to try to overcome that now, to try to make that second seed, seeing how if it comes down to a head-to-head where Northwest had beaten them earlier in the season, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, Trail has, they're going to go to Hanover next week, and Hanover is playing tough tonight, and then they play Redeemer, and of course then Lackawanna Trail, they're going to have a bye or their season's going to end after 9 games.
Well, the game against Hanover possibly could help them with those power points that we always talk about.
DiGregorio looking for the end zone. He gets it, but a flag comes in. Let's hold up. It's going to be a hold against Old Forge. Referee Tom Finan already had indicated that.
DiGregorio has done a tremendous job tonight, Bob. I mean, the first game starting as a first.
10-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
He's going to go, what Coach Schubeck said, 10-0 as a freshman, now 11-0 as a starting quarterback.
And to come in at, midway through the season against your biggest rivalry game and do well.
Well, they still have Riverside next week, too. So another rival game next week coming up against the Vikings. But yes, this has turned into quite a rivalry. Most of the time, these two teams meet twice a year now over the last couple of years. sideline warning. They've been twice last year. They've been twice the year before.
It's
And then they met once in 2016. Because Trail beat Northwest in that year for the district title.
and you don't ever want to say, well, we're going to see them again in 3 weeks. You don't want to do that because both these coaching staffs know how important this game is in terms of the division.
So DiGregorio just gonna look for blocks, find a hole, and he does. And he shoots up for almost 8 yards. They're still inside the Allied Services red zone at the 13, and the time is ticking, coming up on the 2-minute mark in this game.
This has been a hard-fought battle on both sides of the line of scrimmage tonight, Bob.
DiGregorio easily is in for a Figure Law Firm Old Forge touchdown and puts this one away for the Blue Devils.
DiGregorio is doing an awesome job out there. Congratulations to that young man to step in with that kind of pressure put on you and to have this kind of performance this evening. Hats off to him and that offensive line.
Here it is again, Coach. What great blocking on that side.
And again, to be able to walk into the end zone like that, that says a lot about the way those kids are blocking out there for him.
Gronetsky, the extra point is good. 1:42 left here in the game, 26-7 now the score.
At Quad A Driving Academy, our students do not have to go to the DMV to take their test. They test with us. Less stress means a higher pass rate. We're the only full-service driving training school able to serve Luzerne, Lackawanna, and nearby counties. Check us out at quadadrive.com.
Paul's down on the sideline. He had a front row view of that touchdown, Paul.
Impressive drive by the Blue Devils, overcoming penalties and everything else. I've been watching number 4 for the Devils all night, Colin Holtzman, a 5'7" junior, but he plays fullback on offense and middle linebacker on defense. The kid's impressive. Watch him during that touchdown and the block he threw. A 5'7" kid throwing a block like that. Now, it's no accident that he wears number 4. He was wearing number 32, but Brendan Mazelewski passed it to him. And before that, Shane Schuback passed it to Brendan. Shane Schuback started a tradition when he was here of wearing number 4 as a way to honor his Aunt Nicole. She died and her birthday was May 4, so Shane started wearing number 4. And now it's become a tradition here at Old Forge High School that tradition is passed from player to player, team to team, the wearing of number 4. And it all started with Shane Schuback when his Aunt Nicole died, the mother of head coach Mike Schuback. Nice tradition here for the Blue Devils, Bob.
That it is. So a Keystone College kickoff once again by Kerrigan. Just going to kick it deep, and Rest will try to come up and take it. Instead, it was Rosansky, and Rosansky up to the 34. And speaking of Shane Schuback, he has surfaced, and he's at Slippery Rock now playing after moving around in a couple different places. Coach Schuback before the game was talking about him. And in fact, you can see Slippery Rock tomorrow play against Mercyhurst.
Where can we see that game?
Right here on my TV, WQMY.
And again, Slippery Rock again. The PSAC, the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, they are a perennial Western powerhouse. And again, Coach Golden from Lackawanna Trail actually played there.
And they are ranked number 10 in the country.
And sometimes they play at that place called the Big House, I believe.
Yes, they do once in a while. So you can watch that tomorrow and see some local players here on my TV. So Barrios is sacked. And guess who? The aforementioned number 4.
Oh.
Colin Holtzman.
Colin Holtzman. He really has had a monster game in there tonight as that unsung hero in terms of being the fullback. You'll see this. He does a nice job. He just does a nice job coming off the edge, and he's right up in his grill, and he just takes him down for the sack. But as I was saying, Colin's done a great job in there at that fullback unsung. They gave him a ball a couple times, but his main job is to block for those tailbacks.
Melnikoff still fighting. He'll be tired tomorrow. But one of the best backs probably in the Lackawanna Football Conference, I think you could easily say that, is Ray Melnikoff. He could play at any team, anywhere in this conference.
And he would be an impact player.
Yeah.
He really would. And I'm not saying anything less about the offensive line at Trail. And again, as coaches, if you had an all-star game, that kid would be the first team running back.
So the Blue Devils about to pick up their 5th win of the year. The Lions will drop to 4-3. And again, we have to watch what Northwest does the rest of the season. Trail's got to take care of their own business, and then they will see what happens. So on that 4th down play, the Lions were unable to convert. The Blue Devils will take this one over, and looks like they'll put this one into the win column. Question is, will these two teams meet again in the district final the first week of November? That will be the question, or will Northwest get in? So an impressive win by Coach Schubach's team with Michael DiGregorio replacing Dante Lucarelli at quarterback, and they didn't miss a beat. Paul Grippy now with Coach Schubach. Paul?
Okay, Coach, this was a testing game for you guys, and how do you think your team took that test?
Hey, you know, we got the win, a team effort, and now we look forward to the next week. I'm very happy for our players. It's a long week. The weather wasn't helpful. We had different practice schedules, so I'm very proud of our kids to answer the call tonight. That's a very good football team. We'll probably see them again.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach. Congratulations. Old Forge gets the win with a bounce back.
They do after losing to Dunmore, and Coach just showed me a score. Speaking of Northwest, they lost to Hanover.
They lost to Hanover.
They lost to Hanover 24-14.
That makes everything a little bit more interesting now and gives a lot of life now back to Trail.
They do, because Trail will go play the Hawkeyes next week down there. Paul grabbing our Allied Services players of the game, and they will present our trophy to them. And our Allied Services player of the games, of course, will be Michael DiGregorio and Kevin Pepson. So number 21 and 22. So an impressive win after the loss here from Dunmore against the rivals from Lackawanna Trail. Paul getting our 2 players of the game lined up, and looks like he has them down there. First up, boy, quite a quarterback there.
Okay, Bob, I do have our Allied Services players of the game. First quarterback, Mike DiGregorio. Tell me what it was like to be quarterback, step in here in the last minute and lead this team.
You know, like our offense, we really just put it together, and our defense is just phenomenal. Only holding them to 7 points really just made it happen.
What was working well for the offense tonight? How'd you feel in the passing game?
Well, what was working for us was just running the ball. And then I got a couple of passes in there, and we were able to move the ball down the field.
All right, thank you so much, Mike DiGregorio, Allied Services Player of the Game. And also we have Kevin Pepson, an Allied Services Player of the Game. What does it mean to beat Lackawanna Trail this week?
It means everything. Losing them last year, we just wanted this win so bad.
And last week was a tough loss for you.
Yeah.
What was practice like? How'd you bounce back from that?
Practice was high intensity, all focus, 100% each day.
Okay, you guys are leading the Class A here in the district, so how do you feel about the way you guys played up until this point in the season?
Doesn't mean anything. It's on to next week. We got to keep going, keep grinding.
Okay, tonight's win means a nice trophy for you guys. This is the Allied Services FNR Champion Trophy. I'll give it to Kevin, but he's got to share it with the rest of the team. Congratulations.
Yeah, they wanted this win, especially after losing the district championship to Trail a year ago. Well, Old Forge is on their way to wrapping up that #1 seed in Class A with, an impressive win. I'm very impressed with the line. I think that's where you have to start. You guys talk about that all the time. We know what the backs did, but the line had to make the holes, and they did.
And they did. And when you have Mike DiGregorio starting, a new kid starting at quarterback, and trying to keep him calm and settle him down. And when that offensive line took over, took command, it made his job so much easier.
Lackawanna Trail has to come back, and they're still right in it, and now the Northwest Locks.
And again, it's going to be a big game for the Lions next week against the Hawkeyes because that's going to help them, as I said earlier, with the power points, and that's going to get them maybe that better seed that they want, especially the number 2 seed in the conference.
So the final score here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, Old Forge wins it 26-7. Our next Friday night rivals Allied Services game of the week will be Wilkes-Barre traveling to Wallenpaupack. So a couple big schools going at it. Next week, Paul Grippy and Stan Kaharski will be on the call as Jan and I take the week off.
Yes, we do.
We do. We get a week off, and Paul and Stan will be manning the booth. So a great job by our crew once again here in the pizza capital of the world, and we thank everyone in Old Forge for welcoming us in. So for the entire Fox 56 Sports crew, for Paul Grippy, Jan Sichak, this is Bob Ide saying so long.
You're watching Allied Services Friday Night Rivals on MyTV WQMY.